All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Bison, aka BisonTrades, and we are back with another episode of RareFUD Radio. Today, we will be talking to Hello Moon, one of our favorite data analytics platforms that is free. I still cannot believe it is free. I pinch myself every single morning wondering how they offer so much data and analytics for free, and we get to use it. I use it every single day. It is a dashboard that I open up 24/7. So we'll be talking to Walker about the platform, how to use it, any features that are coming up. And then we'll be talking about the market in general because alpha is important here, especially with the CPI numbers coming out, and just talking a little bit about making sense of it all. We had a fear spike down in Solana price. And when there's fear in the market, that usually presents its buying opportunities. So to talk with all of that today, joining me as always is my co-host Dorian. Dorian, how we doing today, my man?
Yo, I'm doing great. You know me. Every day's a holiday, dog. Back for another one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Every day is a holiday, especially when the market is looking bleak. Everybody's saying doom and gloom. That is when we buy, right? This feels like a buying opportunity to me. I hope you guys stay liquid. And let's bring on King Liquidity himself, Joe Soul. Joe, how you doing, my man?
Yo, what's happening? Excited to talk to Walker, man, and chat about a nice homie talk here, and get a little roundtable.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Walker and Hello Moon host one of my favorite spaces on Twitter, Hello Moon Mornings. It's every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 his time. Wait, Walker, I'll bring Walker up. I can't remember if he's in New York or Chicago, but anyways, yeah, one of my favorite spaces. I pretty much make it a religious staple whenever I have the time. So we will definitely be talking to him. But before we do, we always give you a little bit of a market recap, a little bit of a market summary here. We are sitting at 114,000 SOL volume, according to TIEXO. I recommend everybody use this from now on, tiexo.com/stats. This will actually show you the full encompassing market total volume. Magic Eden has taken away their market stats page. So this is where we go. This is on-chain analytics, breaking down the marketplaces and their market share. Talking about Magic Eden, we've been saying they've been having declining volume share. And this shows it in the data analytics. On their volume from the past month, they've had a 78% share. Past 7 days, 61%. And today, we're at 58%. This is something that is going to happen as we see new paradigms enter the market with royalties, with marketplace fees, as we see competition enter. We're seeing them having to be more competitive, having to innovate, or adapt ideas that the market has wanted. Guys, I kind of want your opinion before we bring up Walker. What are your guys' opinions on the market? CPI numbers came out today. We saw a little bit of spike down in the Solana price. Has since rebounded above 30 last time I checked. So that's good. Looks pretty healthy to me. Joe, I want to go to you first on this.
Yeah, thank you, Bison. So obviously we came expected. It wasn't much higher, 0.1. Really now is just macro wise. I'm looking at BTC for that. So above 19.2, we're really chilling. A 19, any spot longs or scalp longs you call during the dip. I'm really just watching BTC at this moment. However, like I said, we're 88% down from the top. Even if we go another 12 to 15 to 16, $18, at that point, we're just 2 years, 3 years when we're sitting at $400 to $1,000 increments, right? So as long as you're doing capital preservation correctly, DCAing at crucial numbers, right, with a lot of volume there, the people to come in and buy that price up through a VPVR free on Trading View. I think that's a good way to set yourself about from positions of strength. So I think in any market, provides a pretty good plan of action that you can put for selling or buying. So here, I think we're looking to build positions and start into our favorite tokens. And
yeah, I'm Joe. Your audio's rugging just a little bit, so just a little heads up there. Dorian, how you feeling about the market?
I'm feeling okay, man. While Joe and yourself are very rational actors and look at the macro overview, I guess I'm the degen co-host because all I've been paying attention to is the NFT market. So as long as that volume is doing decent, which it isn't now, is it below 100K? Did you say that, Bison?
No, we're at 114K.
Okay, see, so that provides me a bit optimism. As long as we're above that 100K mark, I think we'll be fine in the NFT market. But even though we're still above 100K, it feels like things have kind of slowed down a bit. So right now is the time to really be looking for those undervalued projects to pick up on a discount. We saw the other day when, what was it, Mango got hacked, and then the individual who left DeGod, the artist who left DeGods, we saw DeGods dip drastically. When events like that happen, it's important to have some type of liquidity so you can try to pick these things up in either for a long-term hold or to flip them. As an example, when all that stuff was happening with DeGods, and we saw a DeGod sell at 200 or 225, which is extremely low. We saw Utes dip as low as, I think some people got buys in at 85. I put a buy order in for the whole purpose of trying to flip it for at least 15 to 20 SOL. Like, it's one of those easiest trades. So as Bison and Joe always say, it's so important to stay liquid in this market to capitalize on these downturns that happen.
Yeah, it is. And it's events like this that I think this is what capital preservation, liquidity, this is what you want to buy, is when there's fear in the market. And we could talk all about the market, though, with our very special guest today. Bringing on Walker. If you guys don't know Hello Moon, we cite them every single show. It feels like I'm on hellomoon.io all the time.
Yeah.
Like I said, they have a weekly or a daily space, Monday through Friday. Tuesday and Thursday, they do interviews and AMAs with projects. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they do what we do, right? They talk about the market and bring on people that are very knowledgeable in the space and that give rational answers while maintaining a bit of humor. I always think it's funny and everything like that. Let's go ahead and bring on Walker. How you doing today, Walker?
Hey, Bison. How are you? I'm great. Did we lose Joe?
Yeah, Joe keeps cutting in and out. So we always say it's not a show without Joe rugging at some point. And today it's been extra spicy. So we love to see it. I'll bring up Joe whenever we decide to get a stable connection, like right now.
All right, let's go.
Welcome, Walker. Happy to have you, man.
So happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here too. I mean, you guys, Bison and Joe, you guys are like some of my favorite people in the space. Full stop. So, you guys are awesome. Bison, I'd love to get you face to face. Like, we should. Twitter needs to do video spaces. We gotta do it for real.
I know. Well, see, it's always one of the things that, I always talk about it in real estate, because that's, my Web2 job for the most part. As I transition more into Web3 and doing more content and stuff, I think there's just a very niche space where people want to build authenticity and everything. And we know in our echo chamber in Twitter, like, if you don't have a PFP that's, some sort of cartoon character or a farm animal, like, you can't be taken that seriously. Like, everybody like hates on women for using their actual picture, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, it is. It's so weird. Like, it's very polarizing topic. But I think there is a niche where if we actually want to onboard the next generation, it's going to take people that actually have a face to a name and who are building authenticity, like our buddy Joe over here, right?
Exactly.
Joe showing up for the stream today. Rare appearance lately.
Joe, is that a canopy bed? Anyway, that's whatever it is. I love it.
That's all my girl, man. I don't even know what that was called. And she's got some stuff. I'm like, why do you want to cup? I'm like, I'm already sweating all the time at night. Now you just want to enclose this structure. We're not hiding from mosquitoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's like, you don't understand fast. And I'm like, okay, whatever you say.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, good luck trying to tell them about that. There's no shot. Well, Walker, we have Hello Moon, right? I think I was one of the first people to like make a video or anything on Hello Moon.
Sure.
because I was, I looked at Hello Moon, and like we have Soul Sniper and Hyperspace. Before they were like a true aggregator, I used them like as a wallet tracker. And then you guys have just been like aggregating so many different cool features. I remember when we started seeing smart money inflow. I remember when we actually have charts on things rather than just like actual, data analytics. We actually have charts on top of it. So it's a really nice tool that encompasses a variety of features, and it's all free. I've been telling everybody, I'm like, why aren't you using this? This is like, it's the same reason I tell everybody, like, stop going on Magic Eden, go on Hyperspace. You can see all the Magic Eden listings there. Although I know that's a hot topic of debate between both of those teams. So talk to me, Walker, about how Hello Moon started, because it's such a, like, it's become such a key stone in like my daily activities, and how you guys got started.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's always like Genesis stories are always tough, because the reality is that there's like 1,000 different stories that are all equally valid, right? So how do you pick one? So I'd been working in software private equity for a while, and was getting restless, whatever you want to call it, and felt like increasingly excited about crypto and what was happening in the ecosystem, and kind of dove in deeper and realized hey, there's your pain points everywhere. There's nothing that's really good. Everything sucks. You could you close your eyes and throw a rock, and you're going to hit something where there's a need for a product there. And so that was kind of very interesting to me. And so I spent almost a decade obsessed with investing and picking which companies to invest in before we invested, and then after they invested, helping them operate more efficiently, things like that. And so, and the only way to do that, of course, is by looking at highly involved data, and using that to guide your decision-making process, et cetera, et cetera. And so, back when we started Hello Moon, you couldn't get any data about Solana at all. You couldn't get the number of users. You couldn't get effectively anything other than price and volume didn't exist. And so, and there also was a lot of demand for it. And so, got pretty excited about it, put together a team, pretty quickly. That really was, I'm a non-technical founder. And so it's not like I was writing code. And, I had a lot of experience building executive teams, product teams, et cetera, et cetera. I knew how to do it quickly. So put together a team very, very quickly, raised a little bit of capital, built a better team, better product, and kind of been off to the races ever since then.
Wow.
So
yeah,
that's awesome, man.
I mean, you guys have one of the best teams in the Solana ecosystem, one of the biggest, one of the best, what you guys provide. And I want to talk to you about that. I mean, we see the free data analytics, and everybody always asks, how do you make money off this? It's more or less hey, we got to build synergies between what our actual product is, what we actually make money off of, and helping the NFT space along the way. I want to talk to you about that, because everybody always asks, how do they make money? What's the catch here? And I tell them it's mainly on the DeFi side. Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we're super bullish on Solana NFTs, Solana NFT space. We're super bullish on Solana DeFi. I think, there's a few, infrastructure type things that are needed before Solana DeFi can go crazy, but I think that it'll happen soon. So super, super excited about the space and the ecosystem and what's happening there. And so we do make money in other ways. So we have other products, other business lines that are totally separate from HelloMoon.io in effectively every way. And that helps us keep HelloMoon.io free. But I think even if we didn't have those other products, I think we would still have keep the website free. The reason for that is because we're so excited about what we think is going to happen in the space that we don't want to introduce any friction to growth. We don't want to introduce any friction to adoption. We want to make it as easy as possible, because in 5 years and 10 years, we think it's, everybody in the world is going to be buying and selling Solana NFTs and DeFi, et cetera. And we want to have a central role to play in that on the consumer side. On the B2B side, we work with all kinds of on-chain applications and not on-chain applications. We work with people who are on Solana, on-chain and on Solana, want to do better things. We work with people who are on-chain on other protocols, want to come to Solana. We work with people who will never be on-chain but want to know about it. And we help them do all kinds of things. But usually, typically don't go into too much more detail than that. But yeah, that's kind of how I think about it.
Yeah. Joe, I know you're a habitual user of Hello Moon like myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about like what Hello Moon has done for your trading and like everything in between, because I think, as somebody who, like, you actually recently posted about it on Twitter, where you were talking about like, this is where I entered Solana NFTs and like it wasn't that great at first, and like here's, I lost some profit here. It seemed like once you started picking up on analytics and like market, having your finger on the pulse of the market, stuff like Hello Moon was like a huge catalyst for your trading style. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, very much so, man. When I first started, I come from a very technical analytic background, and with my incorporation, my LLC I run, I'm very data intensive and heavy and tracking and back testing. And I didn't do that when I first got the NFTs because there really wasn't infrastructure to help me with that, right? So like when I got in, I was kind of throwing shit at the wall and hoping it would stick, and none of it did, right? And you get to that point where it's either like, all right, I'm done with this subsector, this echo chamber. Like I was trying to make some quick cash, and then it got to the point where I was like, all right, well, let me start looking into like, is there anything? And then there wasn't. There's still nothing tracking anything. You know what I'm saying? Magic Eden had no research, no activity, not like. And then you found Hello Moon, which was like, whoa, like, wow, like this is like what I'm used to on my side, but here now in Web3, and it's just like the ability to see everything in one comprehensive unit, like a one click. You get what I'm saying? I'm a very one click intensive guy. I like one click things. One click tab. You can see DeFi, you can see NFTs, you can see the whole Solana infrastructure, TPS rate, wallet trans. I mean, there's so much to utilize there if you know what you're looking for. And like I said, I just can't believe, like, that's my question to you, Walker, from this. As you're in here now, you're actually utilizing a Discord, right? And it's probably the first time you ever have, and building that. And then like seeing the community come in, you don't even have an NFT, right? You're just an entity on the spaces, and you're giving free infrastructure, but you're building a community that's kind of very diehard for you guys already with no NFT. So like, does that make you feel a little more comfortable, maybe dipping your toes in the water by any chance, maybe founding something? Or because I think you guys are a net positive. So anything you brought into the space, I'd be excited for. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, thank you so much for saying that. And absolutely, we have every intention of launching an NFT. I'm like when I do something, I want to do it right. I want to do it well. And so we're in the process of talking to some of the top artists in the space, and let's not speculate beyond that. And so it's something that's very actively in the works. We're just I'm just balancing it against shipping product. So we're gonna have it. It's gonna happen. Everybody on this call will have whitelists. Everybody listening will have whitelists. Not joking. But it's something that we're definitively going to do. But kind of the way that I think about it is that sometimes there are sometimes bad weeks in the market, bad day in the market, whatever. But the reality is that generally speaking, like the best time to do your mint is has almost always been like a month from now. And so if you think the space is going to grow, and you think and so we're in a rush to do it because we're excited about what it means for the community, things like that. But we're also happy to take our time to make it perfect because we're big believers in the space. And if it takes an additional 4 months, past what we think, so be it. Because once it's out, it's not gonna anywhere. And so we want to get it. We want to do it right.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely love that.
Dorian, I want to follow up your thoughts there.
Yeah, dude, I'm Walker. Super excited to have you on, man. Unfortunately, we haven't got to meet before, but no better time than the present. So happy to finally meet you. If you're kicking it with these two guys on stage, I know you have to be a good dude. Hello Moon has been a huge impact to me, man. I'm not technical trader as Joe or Bison is. I'm more on the qualitative side, so I really like to read more intangible instead of quantitative market trends. Sentiment on social media and Discord and communities. But I do love Hello Moon, not only because it's a quick way for me to buy scrap, but I can also utilize your charts on there too. Like as Joe's been saying, and you've even mentioned earlier on in Solana, there were no charts. There was no type of data. It was ridiculous. I think part of that was one of the reasons I was failing so bad. And I was throwing a whole bunch of stuff at the wall, and it was not sticking. And I'm like, man, I'll take one more aim, and like finally something stuck to keep me around. But I love Hello Moon not only because it makes it easy for me to buy and sell SPL tokens like Scrap and Dust, but also to see the smart money inflow. This is one of my favorite things to utilize because it lets me know of top signals. Man, I can't tell you how often that has saved me. I'm like, oh, I'm already in this position, like money starting to flow in. I need to start planning my exit. So that type of smart money inflow, outflow, and also bringing up projects that I might not have had eyes on otherwise has helped me out greatly. So, like the value that you provided to the space through the creation of this is immeasurable, man. So I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks so much for saying that. And Bison, if you don't mind, I'll just take a second to say, to both of your what you were saying. I mean, that's exactly why we built the product. And if there's one thing that investors hate and that markets hate, it's uncertainty, right? It's you can't act, and when you do act, you're not doing it with certainty, by definition. And so the idea was, and the ambition was that by introducing a product that provides transparency into what's happening, and that answers we can't tell you if a price is going to go up or down, but we can give you all the pieces that you need to decide for yourself. And so the idea was that by bringing that transparency to the space and helping clear some of that uncertainty, we'd help people lean in more and invest more, and feel comfortable and hopefully do better than they otherwise would have done. So it's great to hear that's kind of the experience you guys have had.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. And I know whatever you guys have planned for the future of the platform is going to be amazing as well. I use this thing on a daily basis to just look into projects, look at the charts. Like whenever I find a new project, always jump on Hello Moon to check out the chart to see, hey, is it a good time to buy? But yeah, it's my go-to platform, man.
Yeah, and if you don't believe me, I backtest. I backtest Walker all the time, and I'll come on Spaces and tell him about it. And here's one you can go backtest. Go check out the DeFi, right? Not SPL, just DeFi, smart money inflow altogether. You'll see stable coins on that about a couple days ago pop up and take over, right?
Oh, that's so interesting.
Happened? You get what I'm saying, right? So what happened after that? That's the first time I picked up on the whole smart money inflow being all types of stables. And I said, whoa. And then you look. So, I mean, there's small backtesting you can even go right now and go check out, which I think is really cool. And I'm not saying these things are like a yellow brick road for you. It's just a nuance to add to a confluence, to add to, and it's just steps in your layers there. So you're just layering your cake and you're using all those things. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out as well, Dwayne.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, man. And that's like what I was referencing too with the smart money inflow. It's not like as soon as a project pops up on there, I'm like, oh, maybe this is a top signal, or maybe I should buy. It's one thing I love about crypto is that it really rewards you for being able to analyze and take all these desperate pieces, desperate, you guys know what I'm saying, sparsed out pieces of information and utilize them to your best advantage. And Hello Moon does a great job of aggregating that on a wide, aggregating it so you can quickly jump in between these different things and come to your own conclusions.
Yeah, Joe, that's so interesting about the stable coins. Because so one thing that's really interesting about blockchain is with, if you compare it to stocks, is with stocks, who knows? You have no idea what, who's buying, who's selling, let alone if it matters that person's buying or selling. But with blockchain, you can see, well, who's buying, and then also how well have they done historically, and where have they done well, where have they done poorly, and it's really like it's really quite important information. And so, the reality is that there are only so many people who are making a killing, and there are only so many people who have huge bags. And like, you can actually systematically track exactly what they're doing in the exact second, millisecond that it's happening. So it's a really crazy feature on blockchains. And yeah, so we're excited to provide that.
I love the fact that you have integrated to visibly see who is buying what and selling, who's buying and selling. It includes a level of transparency that isn't really there in traditional markets. But I also like it to the fact that you can see to be able, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, Walker. That's the first time that happened. Oh, yes, that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, I like it because not only does it increase transparency, but it allows people to see others' trading styles. However, just because you can see others' trading styles doesn't necessarily mean you should copy them. I think people confuse like someone who has a bunch of liquidity with someone who's new in the space. Is like, oh, this individual's doing all these things. Let me copy them. No. They know what they're doing and you're new. While it's fine to look at what they're doing and try to learn from them, it's not good to just straight up copy trade people.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes people buy because they're going to hold on forever. And sometimes people buy because they're going to flip it in 2 hours. And sometimes people buy because their friend runs the project and they're happy to lose all their money. And so it's always you always have to have like this mosaic. And we're just trying to give you the context you need to kind of complete the picture.
Yeah. Well, I love the mosaic simile right there. Like it is literally like a mosaic where like you can, it's always like trading, right? And I think Joe touched on it with his confluence, where we can take one factor and if you just look single dimensionally at something, like that's the only thing you look at, chances are you're probably going to get front run by somebody who's looking at the bigger picture, right? Always. And so what Hello Moon does not only shows smart money inflow, it shows all the volume, it shows like everything that's happening on the social tracker, which I was just saying in chat is one of my favorite pastimes, is catching influencers in 4K. Like absolutely just shilling something just so they can exit something. I know there was a certain project not too long ago that was shilling a project from the official project account of like, hey, we're going to put this in the treasury just to dump it on their own NFT purchasers. Like, and Hello Moon was able to track that. Like, so that's, to me, that's kind of crazy. I love the fact that, this is all visibly on chain. That's the beauty of blockchain, right? But you introduce it to us in a very digestible manner that anybody can look at, and for the most part will grasp onto things if they have core concepts. So what I always say, we love doing it here. That's one of the things that why we go on YouTube and everything is we're trying to get the next generation of NFT users, as well as DeFi, as well as anybody trying to get into crypto. Like, we think this is the future, just like you are doing right there, and making data very digestible for a lot of people. I do want to talk about a couple things. So one new feature that I love that not enough people are talking about, that looks like it's offline right now, is the smart minting. I wanted to talk about smart minting, but it looks like it's offline right now. Can you talk to me a little bit about, I mean, obviously I would imagine you guys saw an iteration of it. Maybe it wasn't catching something. It's probably really hard to track like money inflows into candy machines, right? Like,
it'll be back in a few hours. We took it down very temporarily. We're making it even better. But yeah, so it's a very cool feature. And by the way, I want to touch on wash trading too, because I think that's an important one. But
yes,
so for smart mentors, basically what we do is we're looking at the wallets that have minted most successfully. There's some merge with smart wallets themselves. Obviously, people mint from different wallets than they transact from. And so we account for that, and it basically shows what smart money is minting. And actually, remind me, I want to come back to give a caveat on that. Well, actually, I guess I'll say it now. One thing to watch out for with smart mentors is that the smartest mentors are people who are doing rugs. And that's because they mint their entire project and then they sell it and then they do really well. And so it captures basically because every day thousands of projects mint. And so this captures the projects that are minted by the best people who are legitimate and minted by the best people who are illegitimate as well. Hold on one sec.
You're good.
But yeah,
Walker's a busy man.
I was using I actually used it a few times in back. Oh, go ahead, Walker. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was gonna say, so anyway, so like you can look at it, and the other thing we do is you can see for mints that are minting in real time, you can see, is there an arbitrage opportunity? So can you mint it for less than the floor price? So I wouldn't want to encourage flipping, but if you're a flipper, then you could mint it and then theoretically sell it instantly for well above what you minted it for. Yeah. And so kind of a few different interesting angles to that feature, I think.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that. I mean, and that's a cool feature you can do that I don't see anybody else doing. I think it's really unique. I think arbitrage is how we get information like symmetry across the market. It's one of the beautiful things about Web3 is that we have AMMs now, like even Tensor and stuff like that. They have an arbitrage bot, which these are all innovations, dude. If you told me we were having these like 6 months ago, I would have been so stoked. So now that it's finally reality and like people have been building like yourself during a bear market where, we're trading lunch money over here now. Solana's not $250, $260. We are literally scrounging for lunch money. So while you guys have built out a very cool platform, I want to talk to you a little bit about your favorite features, Walker. Like when you talking about the course of your work over the past 6 months or so, what has been your favorite features that you think are really beneficial to traders?
Yes.
And investors.
Actually, hold on, just give me 2 seconds. Sorry.
No worries.
Yep. I think I mentioned it. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Dor.
I was going to say, one of my favorite features on Hello Moon is the fact that you can swap SPL tokens in and out within there. It's just so smooth. Don't have to worry about, am I going to the right website? Or, no, none of that. You just go on Hello Moon and it's there.
Well, it aggregates with Jupiter Aggregator, which is amazing. And Walker was actually, when I first interviewed Walker back in the day, when I first started the channel, he introduced me to Jupiter Aggregator. And ever since then, it's been one of my favorite DeFi products outside of Camino now. Is definitely taking the king. But go ahead, Walker. I want to talk to you about your favorite features.
So my favorite feaure, and this is evolved. It's not always, it used to be my least favorite feature, but my favorite feature is watch trading. And the reason it's my favorite feature is that we're very actively catching scams that are very actively trying to scam people. And so we've started tweeting, hey, if this collection is getting aggressively watch traded, we're going to flag it. And every time I do, somebody comes into the Discord or they respond to the tweet or they send me a DM basically saying, I just bought a bunch of those. Like, I was going to buy more. Like, thanks for helping me avoid getting scammed. Right. And kind of the way that I think about it is that, you can only get scammed so many times before you quit. And, we want as many people as possible to be engaged in our space. And it's very hard to do that, if they're getting scammed. And so that, to me, that's kind of like I think that's one of the most important features that we have.
Yeah, 100%. I cannot agree with that more because, I don't really think about it as somebody who is trying to onboard. I think just as important is retention, right? Like the people who have innately been curious from the start. You're good, Walker. Have innately been curious from the start, retaining them, right? Like we want everybody to have a good time in here. And I do think some people get caught up in the theory that it's a zero-sum game in trading. And I don't think that's true, right? Like I know it is, especially right now, it is a PvP market. I always credit Salami Mommy with that term, but it is. I mean, there's so few participants now compared to back when I don't want to say so few, but active participants, right? We have a lot of new wallets. We still have great new wallet trackers, and we can see that on Hello Moon. But you're right, Walker. I mean, that may be your most important feature when it comes to the health of the ecosystem is the wash trading. So I kind of want to have you worked with, I know you have before, but with Magic Eden and stuff like that, I know did you help them track down Degen Town stuff and everything like that?
Yeah. So we worked really closely with the Magic Eden team to help them track down the victims of the Degen Town wallets drain, which is you want to talk about, horrible experiences. This is a project that raised money and rugged, but before rugging, they dropped a malicious link in their Discord that drained everybody's wallet and left it up for like 2 weeks. And so we worked very closely with the Magic Eden team to solve this. And I will say they were incredibly passionate about it. They were incredibly diligent about it. Like they had a big number of people, basically doing manual labor on top of other, very sophisticated things. And so they were super passionate about it. And so we helped them. We helped them identify who'd been robbed and help them then send compensation. We've actually helped a number of people with things like that. But then, and we're also helping people with wash trading as well. This is how I
So I have a question about the wash trading. Right now, it's easy. I would say that there's not like a super high volume of mints going on, and that it might be easier to track wash trading now. But during a bull market, I would assume this would happen on an exponential level. Are you trying, or will you be integrating some type of like Twitter bot or Discord bot to notify people automatically when wash trading is spotted? I'm not too sure if you manually tweet it out now or how the process is done now, but
it's partially manual right now, and the reason is because I always want to like have like at least the thinnest layer of judgment applied. I'm going to try to be certainly not biased, but like like you don't want to. I don't want to tweet like the floor of like a rug is up 1,000% or something like that, and so there's I approve effectively every tweet, and in a bull market, if we have to hire somebody to approve every tweet, we will, if there's so much volume that it's a good problem to have. So
awesome, thanks for answering that.
It's nice. You don't realize how much wash trading is going on until you go to the actual NFT tab. You go to the top Solana NFT projects dashboard, and then you hit that wash trading thing and just watch it go descending, and you see how many projects are actually wash trading very aggressively, especially when it comes. And I think this is going to be 10 times more important now that we're heading towards like zero royalties. Like with zero royalties, that becomes, you don't have to worry about as much, royalties taking out the percentage of the wash trading. You can aggressively trade them. We saw that with ABC, especially in derivatives of ABC, right? The ones I remember you were calling out like ABC cars and ABC homes.
Yeah, every day. It was crazy. The other thing I will say that we started looking at is there's a big discrepancy in wash trading by marketplace, which I think is very interesting. So there's some marketplaces that are quite aggressively wash traded, and others that are not aggressively wash traded. It's a very interesting dynamic. Thinking about publishing it, but
I can imagine there's some, and I've talked about incentives for some marketplaces to wash trade, and we're not naming names here. We can take some guesses though, especially since they were very incentivized to capture volume to show the market that there was some incentives there. I'm not going to say their names, but it might sound like you. But like I think that sounds like it. So so it's curious because I think this is going to be a very critical element to having a full understanding of the market, and you guys were front running it, right? This was before 0% royalties were even really a thing, is you guys were already developing this. So kudos to you guys for kind of foreseeing that, having the foresight to see that this is going to be really important. And dude, I imagine this will actually be a viable product to work on a B2B scale with other people who do want to pay for this. This is like, I think you've identified, Walker, that like the Hello Moon, if you guys were to do a tool, and this is why I was always bearish on tools that gated themselves with NFTs, is like, that is such a small percent of what you could actually be using if you scaled it to a B2B sort of business. And like, oh, by the way, you can do you crushed literally half the tools I had when I first entered the market. Like I remember alpha alerts. I remember
there were some rough tools back in the day, dog.
I mean, like,
but people were scrounging because that's all that was there.
It was, and it was so hard. And you guys just came in and said, let's put everything together, right? And now we have these free tools, Hello Moon being, the premier one I use all the time. That, I mean, there's no need for those gated tools anymore. So we got to be more innovative with it. So I appreciate it. My wallet thanks you, because I now have more Solana to buy JPEGs. I think, though, let's talk about the market. How do you feel right now, Walker? I want to talk to you a little bit about the SEC going after Yuga, because we do have, Mike, do you think this is bearish for NFTs with tokens? Do we think this is like a non-event? Because, I mean, we see with the Ripple case, right, that has been going on forever. Is it a security? Is it not a security? And I think we're just starting that life cycle with NFTs. So I think people are putting a little too much weight behind it, but I also think, like, NFTs may be a little bit more applicable than Ripple in some facets, right? So I want to hear your thoughts on the whole SEC.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm not a lawyer, and there are all kinds of people who are incredibly good at doing this analysis, and I'm not one of them. But what I would say is, I think that it's both bullish and bearish at the same time. I haven't seen too many people have to take that this was bullish, but I do think that there's a pretty heavy bullish undertone to it. And that, kind of, if you go back to the point that I made earlier around investors and what do they like and what do they dislike, they like certainty and they dislike uncertainty. And we've been dealing with, pretty extreme regulatory certainty for a long time. So I think you have a lot of good people who are, operating in good faith and, applying common sense and, paying lawyers a lot of money and who are pretty sure that, that they're doing everything correctly, but they don't know for sure. And so I think that, anything we can do to get additional regulatory certainty, I think will be very bullish for the space. And so I think with something like this, there has to be a resolution at some point. And, even if there's the worst possible ruling, at least that'll give some visibility into, okay, well, if you can't do this, what can you do? Again, I don't have any reason to think that they'll have that, but, I guess we don't know if it'll be positive or negative outcome at the end of the day, but we do know that we'll be one step closer towards, regulatory certainty. So, bullish and bearish.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you on that one. I wasn't as bearish as a lot of people for the whole fact that a lot of people expected this to happen. Like, this shouldn't have been a surprise that the SEC went after an NFT project for doing selling unlicensed registered securities. But if there had to be any project, I'm glad it was Yuga Labs, because they have the capital to put up a fight. While other projects, is like, I don't know what the outcome will be, but it'll be I would think it's a more favorable chance of having a positive one with Yuga Labs being able to fight back instead of going after, I don't know, a project that just minted, because then that project would be like.
Yeah, sorry, and on top of that, I believe that Yuga Labs is represented by Fenwick, who's probably the top crypto law firm, and I believe who advised and gave counsel on the everything that Yuga does. And so not only is it a top NFT company that has the capital to fight it, but it's also the very top law firm that has a reputation at stake, pun intended. No, a reputation to defend. And so I think that either the SEC knew exactly what they were doing and it was really nice of them, or they may have gotten a little bit more than they bargained for. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and Dorian's been one of the ones who, has been giddiest out of this whole thing, and everybody's like, why are you happy about this? And he's like, dude, they're going after Yuga. Like, if there is anybody more prepared to fight this, it's gonna be Yuga. It's the same thing with Ripple. Like, you talk about, if they, I don't know who you could even go after in Bitcoin. It's like, it's Satoshi himself. You're gonna fight a ghost? Like, that's not gonna happen. Yeah. Ethereum, I guess you could, Vitalik doesn't seem like he's a fighting type. Brad over at Ripple seems like he wants to wage war, and that's fine. So like, I'm happy that fight happened, and now we have Yuga, where like I'm glad that Yuga acquired CryptoPunks too, because if they were like CryptoPunks, the original creators seem more of the artistic type anyways, and not like the business minds. So the fact that Marvel Labs was acquired by Yuga does seem really bullish to me, because they seem like they get the business side of it, and they know that they were prepared legally for a while now. Like, they've been consulting them for forever. So I do think this is bullish. Like you said, we want regulatory clarification. That's what sent Bitcoin into its new heights, right? Like, once we got through the bear market, we got some regulatory clarity. Like, that's what propelled us, and we got more new money coming in. So I think you're right, Walker. I do think short term, probably bearish. Like, people are. It just creates uncertainty for us in the short term, right? Where everybody's like, what's going to happen here? I think people who've been in this market long enough know what the outcome is that we will get regulatory clarity. I don't think they're going to be too harsh or anything like that. It's like, hey, this is a nascent technology. And I think like legislators and stuff are coming around, and we're getting more youth in legislation. Well, we're actually the oldest legislators we've ever had on board.
We're getting older, and the legislators are staying the same age, which means we're getting older.
all right. Let's go. It's good though. I'm happy about it, and I think it is good. I think it's good they're not going after like DeGods too. I think we talked about that on a space. Is like, bro, imagine the flack that DeGods are getting right now, which I think is unfair, and it is kind of a byproduct of the Solana community, is like, we want things in hyperdrive compared to Ethereum communities, where we need to work on it. Patience is not a virtue here in this ecosystem. I think it will be as we mature, and I'm hopeful for it. But if they were to go after DeGods, who Scum just left, and like, they also had to postpone Utes a few times as far as they want to nail the art and everything. And I could not imagine them going through all of that on top of a legal battle. Like, that would just be a nightmare scenario.
The only thing I'd say about that is that I do feel like Frank would be more likely to prevail than
we have the same advisors as well as Yuga. Same as that core team advisors are, and there's a few that have crossover as well. So I think we're based in the US as well. So I think basically we'll see a trickle down effect for DeGods. Emissions end soon as well. So I think forward-looking statements won't be such a big deal as well. So, but I think they're pretty set up for that too, Bison. I think that's there. Yeah. Kevin made that a real possibility in their head. So I think like what Walker said, I think Frank would prevail. I have faith.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, Joe. I mean, like, they have same council and everything, but treasury wallets of Yuga infinitely just completely outgrows whatever any Solana project. They probably have the biggest, like, their treasury wallet is bigger than like all of the top projects of Solana combined to a millionth degrure. Like,
when you include gas fees and the time it would take for the transaction to settle, maybe they're closer.
Hey, that's perfect for legislative battles, man. Everything takes
exactly.
So maybe legal precedence needs to be set on Ethereum. I don't know. Moving on though, I guess, what's your take on Solana moving forward? I mean, we're kind of in a crab market, right? Like, we've reclaimed, last time I checked, let's check the price of Solana at the time of talking, is 30.50. So we reclaimed 30, which has been like a fortitude for us. I think I'm confident above 30 that we just kind of go sideways from here until we really want to rip up. What's your take on Solana though? Like, what's got you most excited moving forward, Walker, when you're building in this ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, two things. I think, first of all, I think if you believe that the future of crypto is high transaction volume, mass adoption by a large number of people, without crazy fees, etc. If that's your vision for the future of crypto, I think Solana is the best blockchain by far. And I tweet that regularly. Yep. I think that's not to say that other blockchains are bad. I think other chains have other benefits, but if you're in it for a billion people using it and mass adoption, I think Solana is the best bet by far.
Yep.
So I would say, of the two things that are exciting to me about Solana, the first thing would be the technology today, and also the fact that the technology is able to improve by leaps and bounds. It's not, you don't have to have like an 8-year, DAO vote to do something small. So that would be point one. And then point two would be, community. I think that the Solana community is a lot more cohesive than other blockchain communities. I think I would guess with a pretty high degree of confidence that Solana is probably the only major L1 to see growing user numbers, to see growing NFT numbers, etc. And I think that speaks to the strength of the culture and the strength of the community and the strength of the network, which really is what drives crypto. And so if you combine those two things, that's really all I care about with respect to crypto. And so that's Solana's got both, and so it's very exciting.
Yeah, well said. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Transaction speed and everything. It's funny, competitors coming out right now, I think Sui and Aptos and everything like that, they don't have the competitive advantage, which is the network effect, which we did happen to get. Like, we were just the L1 that came on the scene at the right time in the right place, that has the right team behind it to make mobile a thing, right? And I'm so bullish on mobile space in general, because that's where we can really expound on everything, because I think we just infinitely blow away any other blockchain as far as mobile maturity and capability down the road. I mean, the SDK that's going to come out with the Solana mobile phone is going to be awesome. I don't think it's going to be widely adopted at first, which is fine. All it is it's going to allow developers to get in and get to the nitty gritty of how we make this like a seamless transition to where my grandma's using this before she even knows it, right? Like my mom is using it and she doesn't even know she's like sending money with Solana Pay or MoonPay. Yeah, I mean anything. That's the key. So yeah, I think you're right, Walker. I think we just have all the intangibles, and I think it's gonna be hard for any competitor to catch up to it. In a sense, like unless Ethereum does some massive changes, which the merge is good, it's a move in the right direction, but I think their pace of adoption is going to just blow them out of the water. And I think that's why we're so bullish on Solana. So
I agree.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dorian. Do you have any points on that?
Walker and Bison, I agree with both of you guys. Bison, to your point about these other L1s, I'm a firm believer in diminishing returns. Like the next set of L1s are going to be less of a significant jump forward as it was from ETH to Solana. While they might have higher transaction speed, but it's not significant enough where people are going to abandon a platform that they're accustomed with to just go something for a couple of seconds faster transaction. It's not going to happen. It's also shown that when people are accustomed to things, it's harder for them to abandon it. And I know regardless of other L1s, I'm not leaving Solana. I don't care if they are 2 times faster. That's fun, but I'm staying right here.
So, funny dynamic, and maybe I didn't say this, but I think it's okay. We like to stay connected with what's happening in the broader world, and so I'll talk to VCs, and they'll say, we've heard that teams are going and building on Aptos and Sui, what are your thoughts on that? Do you know anybody who's doing that? And the answer is, I don't know anybody who has any traction at all on Solana who's doing that. But I do know plenty of people who were not able to get traction on Solana, who are, and so maybe they'll have better luck on the next chain, but they weren't able to be a top builder on this chain, and so to me it's kind of like who fucking gives a shit, go build like the shittiest version of that, I don't care. So anyway. It's hard to bootstrap network effects. It's hard to get a community going. And also Solana is like a living, breathing chain that's improving every day. And I think it's going to be hard to compete with Solana on the technical side as well.
Yep. And the growing pains that Solana has had in the past, all these other new chains have to go through the same thing. I'm not going to another new chain. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. By me being bearish on these new chains, I do think there's opportunity for money to be made, but it's not something that I would have long-term conviction in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. I think I am always chain agnostic for the most part. I try not to be a Solana maxi, but it's so hard not to be these days. But I will always, I keep my ears to the ground and, I guess nose to the ground, ears out for any information I see where it's like, I know one of my friends talks about H-bar, right? The I don't know if you guys know anything about H-bar, but it sounds like it's, a big backing by Google and stuff like that, which sounds cool. It sounds like an interesting technology, but dude, it's just like they will never have the infrastructure that we do already anytime soon. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to happen. If it does, it's going to take a year or two. And by then, what leaps and bounds do we go in Solana? It's like, how do we catch up there? Joe, I haven't heard from you in a little bit. I kind of want to catch in on your feelings and thoughts about this talk before we head into some market talk, because I know that's why everybody is here right now talking about projects and everything we're looking at.
Yeah, you guys pretty summed it up pretty nicely. Hit all the points. Walker very articulate in his stance of Solana, and I understand why he's so bullish, and so am I. And that's why I'll always keep exposure. Most of my Solana exposure is either staked or in blue chip NFTs. So yeah, I'm ready to rock out, guys, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Walker, I know you have to leave here relatively soon. You're a busy man, and we appreciate your time. I want to talk to you a little bit about any projects you're looking at right now. What should be on everybody's radar, as well as, do you have any strategies on how to use Hello Moon the most effectively? One thing I've noticed is like top social buying plus smart money outflow usually means that the average NFT user is getting dumped on by people that are smarter than them, and like that's a top signal for me. Do you have any tidbits like that as well as projects you're looking at?
In terms of projects, and this is not financial advice. This is just people who I've come to know and excited about how they think about things and what they could do. Obviously, DGods and Utes. Frank and team are absolutely incredible. Frank's going to be dominating something for the next 60, 70 years. So, I think I'm very excited about anything they do. The Infected Mob team, I think, is awesome. Have gotten to know them pretty well. The Famous Fox team, I think is awesome. Sorry, it take me like an hour, and I feel like the more people I say, the more people I have to say.
Right.
Like any project that's consistently building, any project that understands that, over the short term, the floor price is a voting machine, and over the long term, it's a weighing machine, and you can't really influence votes, but you can influence how much it weighs.
Alpha.
Bullish on that, and then in terms of alpha on Hello Moon, I think the alpha is understanding everything that's happening. There's a lot that we have on the website, and if you're able to link it all together in a cohesive way, I think that that really gets you, a very long way. And so, for example, I'll assume like you're a proficient and regular Hello Moon user, but so if you've checked smart money, if you're familiar with who the top holders are, if you're familiar with, who's been buying and selling on a social basis, and that it's not being wash traded and things like that, I would extend from looking at just the NFT collection to looking at the token, right? Like if that NFT has launched a token, I would look at, who's buying and selling that. Maybe you have people that are buying the NFT and selling the token, or vice versa. And, building out as broad of an understanding of a project as you can, I think helps you, first of all, avoid red flags. And then second of all, helps you get, realize, see something happening kind of before it's reflected in the price. So I think that's how I'd put it.
100%, and well said, sir. I know you got to go here. I appreciate your time so much, Walker.
Thanks,
I know
Walker.
we all do. Thank you for not only the platform that we use daily, but for your time as well. It's been great talking to you as always. And I wish you the best, man. I'm sure we'll have another 3-month check-in or something like that to see all the cool features you developed. And
2 weeks.
We could do weeks as well. You're always welcome on RareFUD.
Well, I appreciate it, man. You guys are awesome. Dorian, great to meet you now. And then
you too, man.
You guys are like blood brothers. So, great to.
You're a legend, Walker. Thank you, brother.
Sir.
Thank you so much. Much love, man. Much love. Thank you.
Yeah. We'll catch you next time, Walker. Thank you for your time.
See you, Walker.
All right. Yeah, let's jump into Alpha Boys. I know that's how we like to end every episode, is our little Alpha Corner. And now I think we're entering the territory again where fear has taken the market. I think there's a lot of good buys happening right now. Speaking of Hello Moon, it is curious to see. I figured Utes and D-Gods would be on there. And so anyways, yeah, Utes and D-Gods are on there. I expected that when there's so much fear and uncertainty around them, as well as Solana price, like that is when you have the most buying opportunities. And yeah, I kind of want to go over to you, Dorian. What are you looking at in the market?
Yeah, man, I haven't been doing too much new picking up of things, just because uncertain market conditions. And you guys know by now, I'm a long-term investor, so I go heavy into a handful of projects and just ride it out. So of course, scrap. We still have pilots coming up, 4x4. Of course, I'm bullish on Adam. Like, I think I have to mention that every episode. Like, yo, I can't understate how excited I am for Aaron Pogge. Extremely bullish on that. And to a surprise for many of you, I actually picked up a Mindfolk yesterday. Like, if for those who've been around the space for a long time, you heard of Mindfolk. This thing shot up to like 300 SOL and crashed down to as low as 8 recently. And a lot of that had to do with its staking. But I heard Ivan, the founder of Mindfolk, on Shake Space, the weekly FOMO, discuss what actually happened behind that project and what he's doing moving forward. And I'm extremely bullish on what he's building. And I'm doing more research into it, but I might pick up another 1 to 2 more.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting space. I want to talk about that topic a little bit, because I think, we always talk about projects to look at and stuff. And, it's always not financial advice, guys. Like, the only reason we mention them is because we want you to do your own research, like, wholeheartedly. Everybody's risk tolerance is different. Everybody's time horizon is different. And so the projects we recommend are solely like what we're looking at. And some of them are quick trades. I know Joe, when he mentions a project, he's usually in and out pretty quick. I know he's changed his mind a little bit, that he's slowing down on the trading, but for me, I have more of a swing. So if you want to talk about trade styles, Dorian is an investor pretty much, like, through and through. Like, he has a 3-month plus time horizon on most cases. Usually looks for sell the news kind of events, and parses his trades that way. Long-term bullish, right? I'm more of a scalp trader. Usually most of my trades are in that like 2 weeks to a month trade. And I do have my investment bags as well. Joe has his conviction bags. I would say, it's usually D-Gods. And I know he has the Cyber Samurai in there now, and like a lot of these one-on-one editions, but he's in and out of trades quickly. So we all have different time horizons. When we bring up these projects, we are solely putting them on your radar, right? Like, we cannot give you buy targets, sell targets. That's not our bread and butter, because your tolerance is different. I do also want to talk about getting knowledgeable about the space. Dorian just mentioned the weekly FOMO is an incredible space. It's led by our Cyber Samurai brothers in Christ over there. Shake, MMM, Triple M, and Smoothie. Triple M's always late though, so like, notoriously can't count on him. Dorian's pretty much taking his spot as host. But we do talk about the market in a similar fashion over there as well. And then we had Mindfolk on yesterday, so Ivan was on for Mindfolk, and I love underdog stories. It's similar fashion to Cyber Samurai, where people counted them down and out, but they're still building. They're still they're like, this was it got way out of hand with the wood token and everything like that. And it's nice to hear like their intentions was never to be like this tokenomics Ponzi-nomics sort of project. It was about the art, and they wanted people to like use the wood token in order to engross themselves in the ecosystem. So I thought it was a really cool story. I am bullish on Mindfolk. I think
me too, man.
Like after hearing him talk, it was really cool to hear like the vision they had for the project. So I would say definitely right now the prices are so like beaten and low that we love. I mean, it was like Cyber Samurai at 0.3.
Yes, dude.
Now, so
that's the whole reason. Because like every reason I invested in Cyber Samurai heavy is the exact same thing I'm getting from Mindfolk. It's like 1-to-1, like no difference. When everybody was saying, "Oh, Shake's okay," like Cyber Samurai, that project's dead. I was the one crazy enough buying Cyber Samurai at 0.3 and 0.4 when everybody was like, "I'm not touching that thing with the 10-foot pole."
Right, exactly. And it's one of those things where opportunity finds itself when you are able to reach out in this space, when you're able to jump on these spaces and hear from the founders themselves. So like Mindfolk is such a great example where, I mean, they were like pinnacle of Solana NFTs at one point, like top 10 project, hit like 400 SOL in their floor price. And, you know, they have a pretty sizable war chest. They're sitting at about 55K volume for a 777 collection. So like it's a very small collection. So when it comes to Mindfolk, know that it's a low supply. So, you know, in and out trades are going to be pretty hard. It's more akin to like additions of one-of-one art. So it's knowing that it's better to have a longer time horizon on these things and be able to, you know, identify bottoms. This is close to a bottom. I know they raised from like 6 to almost 12 now. There was some smart money coming into them a while back, and that's what put them on my radar. But talking to Ivan last night was definitely, I'm bullish on Mindfolk again. I think they have a more sustainable long-term future now. And it was really fun to hear. I think in that similar vein, I just made a tweet about it. I wholeheartedly agree that this is the time that one-on-one art is going to really prove itself in this space. One, I think it has better retention of value if you are an investor. So it's like a buy it and forget it sort of thing where I'm not in these trades for like, you know, a couple days, a week, 2 weeks at a time. I'm in it for like months. And I know for a fact that these are really talented artists that will continue to build their portfolio. And I really like finding the artists that get the business. I say it all the time, get the business of art. So what do I mean by that? You know, the reason that curators in Web 2 art are a thing is because most of these artists don't get the business. So curators are actually the ones who found that they can profit massively by understanding the economics of fine art. So when you have artists who are incredibly talented, what they will do is they'll buy their art off of them for very low price, very low. This is why I'm bullish on Web3 art in general. What they do is they buy art at a very low price and they buy a collection, and then they control the supply of which it's sent out. So they sometimes announce that they do get royalties from it, but the people who are capturing the big spread are the curators themselves. And so it's really hard to be an art curator, but they get the business of it. The artists that get everything, that understand that there's a total addressable market out in Web3 that is infinitely greater than putting it up in a museum or a curation gallery, is what gets me bullish. And fine art has continued. It's been one of the things with real estate that have held its value the most over time. I think we're going to see the same thing in Web3 where we have this kind of renaissance of Web3 art. And so when you find those pieces, those artists alike, and I will shield them right now because I think they're incredibly talented. We've already talked about Proteon ad nauseum. I love Proteon. I've shilled him constantly. Dorian and I are both holders, so you know, just a little heads up. I'm not dumping mine anytime soon. In fact,
I'm not either.
Collect another piece or two.
Stashing in Ledger.
Yep. I love low fronts. We've talked about low fronts a lot. They've blown up lately too, and you know, I'm glad to see it. They're doing additions really well over there. John Lay, Animate, Laura L, High Blinks. These are some of the more prominent names. And then you have like Cloud Collector. I'm trying to think of other ones. Camille Chastain. I can never get Camille's name right. I think I'm mispronouncing it, but he has the Hometown series that's finally ending today. And man, what a beautiful series. I think it's incredibly undervalued. And I look for art that is highly unique, hard to replicate, and just creates an intense emotional like attachment to it and across the board. Not just me, but I like sharing art with other people and being like, hey, what do you think about this piece? And talking to people that are wise in the space. So I would advise you to find people that are wise in the space, not just me, but like I have my one-on-one brothers over there, like Aychhe is his name on Twitter. Talking to Soul Boy, who's one of the low fronts people, who is incredibly knowledgeable about the space. Papa Mumu with bot heads. and the Big Brain Gallery. I think 101 is truly going to see a blossoming, especially on Solana, where it's so much easier for, and there's a video of John Lay talking about it with Howie Mandel, talking about how it's so easy to get artists in like Indonesia and stuff who are supremely talented and have no way to display their art. Ethereum's too costly for them because they could end up losing money trying to mint these editions and stuff like that. I think Solana is going to see a huge boom in the 101 market. So this is where I would be scoping out pieces. Do not blow your load. Make sure you're staying liquid. So only apportion like 10% of your NFT portfolio to it. As somebody who is apportioned more than he would like to, I will tell you right now, liquidity is still king, but I think 101 is going to see a huge boom in it. So that's my rant on 101. I've already shilled some artists. If you guys have any questions, like feel free to DM me. And yeah, I think that's it. Dorian, is there anybody else that I missed? Like, I love DJ Poet and stuff. Reza Afshar has some really good illustrations, but I think he's coming out. I think he's a great example. And it's nothing against Reza, but like his pace of releasing work, he's released so many editions. Some of them are so high cost. And I'm like, you're devaluing your collection for your collectors. And I think that's like we talk about it a lot with Delusionary. That was one of the big problems with breeding in generative collections is
you devalue the entire.
Yeah, exactly. So I want your opinion, Dorian. Did I miss anything that I didn't touch up on?
No, dog, you hit the nail on the head, man. You covered all the top tier artists, and it's just like if you don't have the liquidity to have this stuff stuck in here for like 6 to 8 months for one of ones, I probably wouldn't touch it. It's better off you just staying in higher collections. Yeah,
and also I would like to point out too, like, don't be afraid for secondary sales. Like I will tell you right now, until I got into the space, I was like, are they gonna like oust me if I sell my stuff, almost immediately or within a month or so? They love secondary sales. It brings up the value of the rest of their work. So if you're selling it at a premium rather than a loss, which is most of the time going to happen, and you can list them, like they love it. They'll announce it too. Like here's secondary Sunday or something like that, where I have these pieces for sale on secondary. Thank you so much for the collectors for believing in me and stuff like that. Like, know that you can take profit there. I'd say that's my big alpha right now. We can talk about all the plays we talked about lately. Liberty Squares had a nice pullback. I would wait until after the announcement that they have it at Las Vegas today. I think it's today. If it's not today, it's tomorrow.
It's coming up soon. They kind of teased some of their art, and I'm going to phrase this by saying I'm not a huge art connoisseur. Like I'm the worst judgment of what's good or what's bad, but it doesn't look that good to me.
That's fine. Art is subjective, and I think that's another big thing right there. And then I think that's about my alpha for it. We talked about these plays, which, by the way, make sure you're tuning into our Twitter Spaces on Fridays at noon Eastern Standard Time. This is where we talk a lot more with the audience about plays that you're in, plays that we're scoping, anything like that. Most of the time on RareFUD Radio, this is podcasts to get you more informed about the market, what's happening in it, certain projects, and trading philosophy, because we want to make you smarter investors, smarter traders. But that's usually where we talk about a lot of the plays and talk about any market happenings with the audience. We did lose Joe halfway, at the beginning of the Alpha Corner. It looks like he popped into the waiting room and then got back out. But I will tell you right now, Joe is mainly looking to buy Solana, from my understanding of his tweets and stuff. And I think he's pretty much loaded most of his bags. But
and maybe an ape.
Yeah. Say what?
And maybe a DGen ape. He has been I'm not too sure if or the audience knows, but a lot of Trash Panda holders and ape holders got a coin drop to them for a IRL like race car for the DGen Trash Pandas and like a bus for the apes. It's pretty cool.
I think I've always talked about how it's funny that the Degeniverse like feels, I don't know, like they weren't doing too much, but I think once you crack open the egg and look in deeper and stuff like that, like you realize that they're doing really cool stuff on the background, and like some of the smartest people in the space actually own an ape or a trash panda or an egg or going after eggs. Like, dude, I remember Cadence was going hard on the egg crates on exchange art. So,
man.
I think I think another thing that you can look at, and this is why I'm so trying to like engross myself in one-on-one art, is because some of the smartest projects are involved in the one-on-one space, are siphoning talent from the one-on-one space. So like High Blinks is going with Transcendent Dogs, and Adam Apes starting his generative project over on ETH with Iron Paw Gang. These are things that I like to look for, and you're not going to have any market knowledge of it if you're not involved in the space. So just like a full disclaimer, make sure that you are alert to it. We do have Joe back on. Joe, do you want to talk to us a little bit about your plays, bro?
Guys.
Welcome back,
sorry.
Matt.
So I came to the hospital. But I'm waiting right now. Actually, there's only one because of COVID restrictions. Allowed one visitor at a time. So I'm waiting for my. I was watching actually the whole time on my way, and I heard you guys talking, hearing your perspectives on the outside when I'm not here as well. I really viewpoints and paradigms, and even Bison, man. Like I reached out to Bison network. This is networking, right? This is nothing to do with the market. Like he helped me out with some stuff I was pondering and really needed someone that knew what they're talking about to kind of bounce an idea off. That would have been in a service I would have had to pay for if I did not know Bison. He could have charged me for that if he wanted to. And if I didn't know him, I would have had. So it's a little friend, and it might not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but no, that's money making but he helps me. I think alpha today for me is friends, relationships, and just to keep the ones that mean the most to you. Just take a little bit of work. I just think that net positives, you keep that relationship as strong as possible. So yeah, just wanted to big up to you guys. I slept on them.
Love you, brother.
Too, Bison.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I'm thank you guys. I have to agree with the sentiment on Bison.
Yeah.
Bison, bro. He's a legend. Just a good person, a good soul, and wants others to do. That's bro. That's you find someone like that, you rack them up in the friend group. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you two very much. I mean, you guys both bring a unique perspective and definitely make this one of the funnest parts of my days, one of the funnest parts of my week. So I appreciate you guys. No, I would definitely harp on that, Joe, and we could talk about that more tomorrow, because I think Web3 marketing and building your brand right now is one of the most profitable things you can do. I was talking, we were on a space with No Fluff Radio, which is another. No Fluff is the space. It's not No Fluff Radio, but Salami Mommy, Lucifer, Lucifer, and Benny Threads over there host it. It's another recommended space. It happens usually, I want to say it's 11 a.m. Every single day during the week, and occasionally on the weekends. They're just really knowledgeable people, and so I would recommend you listen to them. Like I said, weekly FOMO. Make sure you're tuning into our space every Friday at noon. I do think I'm going to host, and whether the boys want to join me or not, maybe spaces on Monday and Wednesday too, just to like bridge the gap and have more time for everybody to talk. Just so we can increase our presence. But that's gonna be a me thing. And if the boys want to join, I'm not obligating them to. Their only obligation is to show up for RareFUD Radio. But
brother, please, Bison, I'm serious, dude, for real, because you're such a great host. You're better than out. Like, no offense to anybody that's doing it. Everyone's great, but dude, you are all day, homie. Seriously.
Dog, you're solid. You do an amazing job here and all the spaces.
I appreciate it. You guys are too kind. But yeah, I think that's about it for today. Make sure you are relationships are the biggest alpha. I would agree with that, Joe. Like right now is the time to be networking. Everybody's down bad. Nobody's going to be super active in the market. We've already talked about it. We talked about it on what was it? I think it was the dojo, actually, which is our weekly space where we highlight Cyber Samurai holder. Is this is a PvP market. We're all fighting for lunch money. If you're trying to trade right now, actively trade, I think right now it's best to take a more longer term approach to most of these things, because you're going to be mentally exhausting yourself if you're trying to hyper trade like we normally do. Back when Sol was $250, $100, whatever, I was more of an active trader then than I am now, where I take longer positions. So right now, focusing more on building brand and building relationships. I think that is the best thing you can do.
Agreed, man.
Yeah.
Agreed.
yeah, I think that about does it for us on the show today. I want to appreciate everybody's time. Benny asked, is Shin Sengoku a good buy? Yes, not financial advice or anything, but I think, dude, what's the worst he can lose? Right now, Sol's $30 a pop, and it's less than a Sol. So I have seen far worse projects at far higher prices.
Great risk return.
Look, Ryan is one of my favorite people in Web3. We'll have him on at some point too. I kind of want to talk to him about. Yeah, I've talked to him before, and he's just such a genuine person.
Yep.
And he gets
really
the
wants
whole
to
content.
build a good project, man.
Yeah. I mean, he gets it all. So, yeah, I think that about does it for us right now. Benny, thank you for the great question. Curve, thank you for always showing up. Thank you all for supporting RareFUD Radio. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials. That's Twitter, that's YouTube, that's all your podcast platforms. So we go through Anchor to put it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So you have all of your platforms covered. If we need one, please let me know in my Twitter DMs. Also, make sure you tune into our Twitter Spaces every Friday. That's our official one. If I do any, it'll be more sporadic. I may time them at like Monday, Wednesday at like 2 p.m. Like we do our normal RareFUD episodes, but that'll be solely so we can just open up conversation. There'll be no obligation. It'll be much more of a conversation. So that about does it for us. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you, Dorian. Thank you, Joe, for your time. Thank you, Walker, for your time. Hello Moon is
appreciate it, Walker.
And we will see you next week on Tuesday, our normal episode time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then.